they say things and do things that we can't prove.
I definitely would not let them pay me.
Blood running down the wall. I mean, when you think
I would
about
just say
it,
that one.
who invented those classifications if they don't exist?
Yeah.
I mean, most of our fables and most of our things that don't actually exist but are in legends and stuff are based loosely off things that actually happen.
Something, yes.
I mean, even like the Norse gods, Hercules, succubi. Yeah. I mean, honestly, could have been a hag in a freaking cloak came in, acted like she was flying, or she could have been hammered and went home to the wrong guy. I mean, women drank back then too.
She could have been she could have been pulling just like fake trickery and magic, like you said.
Freaking hut's a hut.
You know what? We're gonna call that the David Copperfield. There you go.
There you go.
No,
it's a David Copperfield.
That's the David Copperfield.
But honestly, I mean, I don't know of any actual documented cases of a ghost ever killing somebody. There's been documented cases of people getting smacked, scratched, touched, so on and so forth. But never one I've ever known of anybody actually getting killed. And here's my reasoning behind this. Okay, what if, let's say that all ghosts are real, right? The whole ghostly stories, everything we hear, it's real. There are ghosts out there, there's demons out there, so on and so forth. It could maybe be because just God won't allow us to be able to be killed by a spirit. And the reason for being is because the panic that would ensue if people knew that they were real and they could fucking kill you on a whim. You could be sitting in a room like right now doing this show and all of a sudden, and we're all fucking dead on the ground. You know what I mean?
I think that's the big misconception with the paranormal right now with the demons screaming. I mean, they're assuming it's going to get bad. They're assuming it's going to get more hostile. They're assuming it's going to have bad intent.
Well, and we've talked about that.
Why?
Yeah, and we've talked about that before, where like something small happens, and we even just talked about it earlier on the show, where something just gets knocked over, and automatically they just assume it's a demon because they threw it on the floor. It's like, no, bitch, they're learning how to carry a fucking pot. Yeah, it's the first time they ever tried, they dropped it. You know what I'm saying? It was an accident. They weren't trying to fucking kill anybody.
It would have to be something spiritual, or like you said, maybe God, because these things. What we've seen thus far, they can pick up objects. I've seen videos of them turning on stoves. You know what I mean, burning shit. Yeah. So they can obviously pick up things. I mean, how can they not hurt you with it? Like they toss shit around. You know what I mean? How can they not?
And the reason
there's no recorded documentation of someone actually being physically, besides scratching. You know what I mean? Killed or something. But that's
not
I find
killed.
That crazy.
There's been people that like had objects thrown at them and stuff like that. They've been hit by objects and been smacked. Everything else in the book. I had a hat knocked off my head on an investigation once. So it physically was managed to knock my head off. But the thing is, I've never known anybody to be like directly killed by a ghost. You know what I'm saying? Like it didn't like make them float up in the air and break their neck and drop them dead.
That's what houses
they could do that. Like the poltergeist house or whatever. Because I mean didn't people actually die in that house, but not maybe
talking
not
about like Amityville.
Yes.
No, that was a murder. That was an actual straight up murder. And you know what? There's a lot of myth. Hold on, there's a lot of myth behind that whole Amityville thing. The guy that went to court for killing his family and everything else.
Ron DeFeo.
Yeah, Ron DeFeo. It was all pretty much him pleading insanity. That it was his case in order to get away with the fucking murders.
Okay.
That he was possessed by the devil or whatever it was. Made him shoot and kill his family. Yada yada yada. Right. Okay. Then after that, you had the Lutz family come in, and actually their real honest to God name is not Lutz. It's not their last name. They actually go by that. That was this that they used for the movie and the book. And I don't know the real name, and even if I did, I wouldn't tell you. But the thing is those people had a lot of financial issues.
Being so forthcoming.
Exactly. Those people. I mean, granted, yes, it's Adams. No, I don't know their names. I'm teasing. But the people that moved in the Lutz family when they moved into the house and all that, they had a lot of financial issues going on way before they ever moved in that house. I think they moved in. possibly they had some shit that was going on, but I think they used the murder that happened there and everything else and built up this big story about the ghosts and everything to get them the fuck out of that house. And they wound up selling it and making money on it because there's been other family members of theirs who came out and later down the line saying, "Dude, they lied about that shit. None of that was real."
Oh, really?
Well, that same family members coming out saying there's lies happens with the Conjuring house, too.
Absolutely, yeah, it happens with all of them.
Now, I don't know if you gentlemen ever had the privilege of being around Tim Yancey, but Tim Yancey was one of the original Amityville investigators. And I sat through his presentation when I was doing Ghost on the Coast. And I have to tell you, he's got some photos and some evidence that I couldn't dispute.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I'm going to clarify this right now.
I just don't think it was
not
as
saying that.
hostile as everybody made it.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that none of this was ever true. That there wasn't any type of spirit attachments or anything else that happened in the house. Not saying that. I'm just saying there was a whole lot more evidence to
Influx.
disprove it than to actually prove it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So,
I mean, I'll give you
that
an
fucking
example.
sucks because look, I believed in a lot of that shit. Amityville Horror, I watched that when I was a kid. I mean, that shit scared the fuck out of me. You know what I mean?
Well, that's 'cause you're a pussy, but-
I am a pussy. The Conjuring, you know what I mean? That's
You are
another
what
one.
you eat, bro.
But okay, so a lot of that shit people have came in after the fact and say, oh, well, that's bullshit, or they were family members of the
Yeah.
people, right? So what other house that we can say that was probably pretty much, yeah. That's,
hey, you know what? I'll give you another
no-
one. Haunting in Connecticut. Half the shit you see in that movie is not true. Is not
true.
what happened in the house at all.
What house would you?
There
I'm sorry,
wasn't
go ahead.
bodies in the walls like they showed in the movie.
Right.
There were a couple of things that I had heard. Okay, like prime example, John Zaffis. All right, he was one of the investigators who, in the movie, they bring in this paranormal investigation team. Right. John Zaffis was in real life was one of the investigators that was there. In the movie, he's the guy who gets attacked by this like demonic force from the attic, or I'm not the attic. Sorry, the basement. Comes up at him and attacks him, and he said, the way Hollywood described it and showed it in the movie, he said, is far less scarier than what he actually went up against.
They had to boost it up a little bit.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like some people talk about what's described as for Amityville as the pig.
Yes.
Remember the pig?
Yeah, the
Okay.
pig scene. Yep.
There was a lot of things
I've never
seen
seen
in
this
that
movie.
house.
You never seen Amityville?
No.
Wow.
Oh, I feel like we're at the beginning of Expedition X when Josh Gates is freaking out because he hasn't seen the guy hasn't seen Poltergeist.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah. The thing is, like, Tim has this photo from the staircase. There's 4 people on the landing. There's no furniture around them. You can see their legs. You can see what they're doing. The guy on the end is holding a pen, and he's got his hand under the clipboard of the lady next to him. And the lady next to him is doing the same thing. They're like doing this. There's a cameraman right here holding a camera with 2 hands. The other guy has the boom, and he's holding a box, which I'm assuming was attached to the boom. So whose hand is on his shoulder? Because there's 9 hands and 4 people in this picture. And I was like, and Tim put it up on the wall, and he's like, okay, somebody tell me what's wrong with this picture. And everybody's like, well, I don't know what's wrong with this picture. And I'm over there going, pick me, and he's like, I was like, there's 9 hands. And he's like, you got it.
Teacher's
There's 9
pet.
hands.
Give her an apple.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
I mean, that's paranormal activity. Blood running down the walls and
Yeah.
the basement
Yeah, and-
blowing up in blood. That's
And the
Hollywood.
guy she's
Shining.
talking about, Tim Yancey, I can vouch for him too. A very stand-up
I
guy.
missed him.
Yeah, we all
Miss
missed him. He passed away not too long ago. Actually, it's been a lot longer than it seems. You know what I mean? But to
Yeah,
me, it seems
it's-
like it was
I
like
think
just
it's
a
like a
few
year and a
months
half
ago. But yeah,
or
it's
2
been like
years.
2 years.
Right.
Yeah.
But Tim, man, very stand-up guy, very no nonsense about investigations. Funny guy. Don't get me wrong. He was
Oh, he's
definitely would have fit
he
in with
was
all of us
hilarious.
hanging out for sure. But yeah, very very straight up dude, man. Cool guy.
Yes, he was one of the original Amityville investigators, as well as many other places.
All right, I'm going to ask this question around the table. Since we're talking about proof of investigation such, and this actually can tie into some pretty good conversation here. Jesse, you were hired on a professional ghost hunting team that will be filmed in Panavision. No, it would be filmed on whatever network. Let's just say Travel Channel. they ask you because their ratings been going down a little bit to fake evidence. You do it since they pay you?
Fuck no.
Okay. Jason?
Would I fake evidence?
Yeah, because they're paying you. You're on the TV show and all that to keep it going.
Honestly, it would go against everything I believe because, like I told you from the beginning, when I joined the group, I mean, I'm a very big skeptic, and I see a lot of these fucking paranormal groups that go out there, and I'm like, that's bullshit. Yeah, and I call bullshit because they say things and do things that we can't prove. You know what I mean? But they want us to believe that happens. So no, to answer your question, no, I don't think I could.
Kim?
No.
Nope.
No.
It's all about the integrity.
No, I mean, it has to be.
Yeah,
Man.
across the board. I definitely would not let them pay me.
I mean, if you're under contract,
no,
you gotta
I'm
do
kidding.
what you gotta do. But
here's the deal.
It wouldn't feel good.
Yeah, here's the deal. If they ask you to
deceiving
amp
the
up
public.
a little bit on camera,
Yeah, I would.
you know what
I
I'm
would
saying?
totally over dramatize it a little bit. I would be dramatic about it.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna like fake shit.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
not gonna tie a
You're not
string
gonna
to a
fake
pot and
evidence
drag it
and
around the
stuff.
room.
Yeah,
you know,
right.
I mean, I'm not gonna like flat out do that.
Yeah.
But I do have questions.
Shoot.
And mostly for Kim because she's the most experienced one in the whole room, and we're interviewing her anyway. I'm trying to think of how to word it. So, when you're doing an investigation, wouldn't it make more sense to like investigate over like a longer period of time to develop more consistent evidence? Like, hey, if you do this, like
I think so. Yes. I don't like 2 and 3 hour pit stops. I call them pit stops because you can't classify what's going on in a short little investigation. You need to go back. That was one of the big things I liked about FGT. When I was on Florida Ghost Team, we would do hundreds of help calls. I've done over 400 now. If you're getting something and you can't quite figure out what, you're going to have to go back. And you're going to go back and you're going to go back.
You know, it's true. Like I would say like a 90% of the investigations that were help calls that I've done, I would say at least like 90% of them we went back on an average of about 3 times, maybe
Yes.
more.
so
on
about
average.
3 times is
This is
where
help
you
calls.
would
Or more. Sometimes
Yeah,
we would
keep
have
doing
ongoing
investigations,
cases.
keep documenting everything to see what's been going on. See, like you said, see if there's consistency.
See, I'm
But
going
also,
back.
too,
do you two try to make them respond to certain stimuli
Yes.
Yes.
like each and every time?
Yes.
Like same place, same time, same apparatus,
Same
same
channel,
middle
yep.
finger, whatever, you know.
Yeah. It's one of those because you're trying to keep, well, you know this very well because going through CSI training, stuff like that. You know, we try to keep a very controlled environment, you know, when we're doing the investigations and with the experiments per se. And you know this just as well as I do, man. It's trial by error. You know, nothing ever works consistent every 1,000 times you go out. It might work maybe 3 out of 1,000.
Well, that would be that's kind of why I'm asking, because that's how you would get your proof. If you did something and it consistently responded,
Yeah.
and all the other variables are the same,
Yep.
and it responded to that stimuli, hey, there's your proof. And there's where I consider brick in the head evidence, aside
yeah,
from,
absolutely.
I
you know,
think that's
Yeah.
where you
a
come
fully
up with the
formed apparition jumps in front of me and throws me across the room, literally.
That's what I need.
Yeah.
That's what I need.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
that's the difference between a residual haunting and an intelligent haunting.
Yeah.
Residuals just repeat,
Yeah, I'm a
and they
loop.
don't interact.
Well, what Jesse's saying is like if every time, let's say we have the teddy bear, we'll use the teddy bear as an example.
Yeah.
We bring the teddy bear because we think there's like a child haunting in the house, and we set it up in this corner. And this very first night we're doing the investigation, the damn bear wound up on the other side of the damn room.
Yep.
Right. We come back, you know,
We're going to do it again.
come back 2 weeks later, we're going to put it there, see if it can do it again,
And
so
again.
on and so forth.
Yep.
You know,
Right.
and see if we because you're kind of pulling off 2 things at once here. One, like Jesse was just saying about the variables, you're proving that yes, there is something here that's definitively reacting and with that fucking bear, right?
Yeah.
But you're also at the same time proving that the motherfucker's intelligent. It knows you just put this bear here and it just moved it again.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
Like, stop putting the bear there. I don't want it there.
exactly.
Yeah.
Mother, you know, it's very true. You know, but the thing is that with all investigations, man, the shit that we do, it's all trial by error. It really
Everything
is.
we do is trial
Yeah.
by error.
Because
There's
sometimes,
no 2 places that are ever the same.
yeah,
Sometimes they're really fucked up. Sometimes it's an easy debunk. I mean, you have to go in open-minded, new slate, new job,
And that's the other thing I wanted to bring up just real quick about what we're talking about the repeat process. Also, another reason why sometimes the repeat process is good is you may see something you overlooked the first time
Yes.
and realize that this is
That's
not
what's
paranormal.
causing it.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, like you were telling me a story about someone being heavily affected by an outlet behind their bed.
Yes.
It was causing them to feel like somebody was watching them. They weren't feeling good. They were a little scared, a little freaked out. Started interacting
Hearing
with
voices.
their nervous
Right,
system.
right.
Yeah,
Thinking they were seeing ghosts.
and
or-
they got it fixed,
Right.
and boom, problem was fixed.
What-
Yeah,
what
you
was that
always
called?
have to go with the debunk.
That was with the EMF field that was coming off that. This alarm clock was, I mean, straight out pegging the freaking K2 meter. All right.
All right.
And so I turn around and and the lady said that throughout the entire house, never anything paranormal happens. Nothing. It's always when she went to bed. Her pillow, where her head was maybe not even a foot away from the alarm clock. You know what I mean? So, I mean, it was like just direct shot on her the whole time. You know what I mean? And the one thing is, there are a lot of people very susceptible to EMF. We're all, we all can actually have issues with EMF, but it just takes a lot higher level sometimes with some people. Some people are very sensitive to it. And it can cause auditory hallucinations. It could cause physical, illnesses. Like it could cause rashes. There's so many different side effects that can come with this. But a lot of it being more like you would think is paranormal. Hearing the auditory hallucinations. For people who don't understand, that means voices that aren't there. And then visual hallucinations, visually seeing things that aren't there. I got to dumb it down for some people. No, I'm kidding. But
You
yeah.
just mansplained.
Yeah, exactly. So, long story short, we pulled the alarm. I told the lady, I said, just do me a favor. Next time you go to sleep, tonight when you go to bed, I'm going to take the alarm clock, unplug it, don't use it, put it aside. And I said, give me a call tomorrow, let me know how you slept. Because she was being affected like every night. Literally, the next day, she called me up. She goes, didn't have any issues last night, nothing. I'm like, Yeah, it was all because of an alarm clock, nothing paranormal whatsoever.
I did a help call once outside the Orlando area, and the kids were extremely paranoid. They were seeing things, hearing things. First thing you do is go in to sweep the house and try to debunk it. We weren't getting more than a 0.8 on the EMF. I go in the main playroom for these kids. There's a power strip in the corner that's fully loaded, and it's breaching 53.1.
Damn.
And it was an ancient power strip, and it was like, okay, well, there's a big problem.
Yeah.
So I told the mom, I was like, you're lucky that thing ain't caught on fire. It was even looking like it was about to just go. So she unplugged it.
You sometimes get these old houses, man, with bad wiring, from, these things have been around for decades, and they get bad wiring in them. Shoddy craftsmanship sometimes, from back in the day. These guys who really don't have a license to do the work they're doing.
Don't cross water lines and electrical lines.
And
you're going to get activity.
Yeah, it'll cause a Faraday cage. You'll have all kinds of situations that will happen, all because of electricity. That not even remotely paranormal at the house. Matter of fact, there was one investigation I did where this lady said that actually it was a couple. At night, they kept hearing voices, like, from the room every time they lay down. It was like right when they go to sleep, they would be hearing these voices, people talking right there in the bedroom, like in front of them, and it was freaking them out, right? So we go and investigate. Sure shit, that first night, it was me and one other person were up in that room, and all of a sudden I hear blah, 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 blah. I don't remember what they were talking about now, this years ago, but there was a voice distinctly behind us. Here's what was happening. We managed to figure this out as the night progressed. Down the end of this apartment that they were in, it wasn't a house, it was an apartment. Down at the end of the alleyway that was right outside their bedroom was the main drag of like the main street, right, of this little town. Right. All right. So the people, when they're walking up down that sidewalk and were talking and shit, carry on conversations like people do when they're out and about partying and having a good time. The freaking Doppler effect that was happening with the voices was echoing down that literally down that alleyway, and they slept with their bedroom window open. They kept hearing the voices. It sounded like it was coming from in the fucking room, and all it was just an echo of these people talking down the end of the damn drag there.
I saw something like that, but it wasn't because their window was open. It was a vent pipe that went from an alley up into a quad of apartments. So anywhere the stove vents were, you could hear whoever was on the street plain as day.
Yeah.
And they kept saying, "Oh, we got voices in here. Yeah, you got people out in the alley, and they're standing right by the vent pipe, and it's just coming right up the pipe."
I'm going to pass this question around the table. Jesse, what would excite you more on an investigation? Debunking the claim that somebody has and finding an actual rational, reasonable explanation for it, or actually finding evidence that it's actually paranormal?
It's situational.
Okay.
So if it's like, if the homeowner or person is scared to death of it, I hope I find something rational. If it's just like a residual haunt, or some, their ghost is their friend, like it's you literally like, oh crap, I forgot to turn that light off. The light flips off, something like that.
Yeah.
And it's happened. Hell, it was at my house before my house was cleaned out. But that's literally how my house was. I'm like,
right.
oh, I forgot to turn that light off.
All right,
Light turns
Jason,
off.
for you.
I think I agree with Jess, because like it's situational. If it's someone who's scared to death, you know what I mean, and you would want to find something rational, kind of ease their minds and stuff like that. But for me personally, I would want to see some shit. You know what I mean? Because I mean, again, we've been on investigations, we've seen things and experienced things, but I need that. It's like I need that.
I told you, it's like
ultimate
crack,
proof,
bro.
dude. It's like it is. It's like you want more of it. So for myself, I would want to know physically. I want to know that there is something going on there.
All right, Kim. What about you?
I like validation.
Validation that it's real?
So yeah, it gets me really hyped up when something as you know, I keep a journal, and I don't always tell people what I'm sensing. I write it down and I put it away. And then if it happens, I say, okay, go get my book. There's no way I can write it down when they just told me. And but I will say that in all the help calls I've done, my greatest thrill is helping a family sleep that was scared to death, and we showed them it was nothing. Because when there's kids in the house and they're terrified, and you give them peace, that's a reward that doesn't come easily.
Yeah, let's find some alarm clocks.
That gives me a great thrill to help someone's children sleep.
What about you, Chance?
Fucking Jesse. Jesse said something got me laughing right before he asked me. I would say for me, the debunking, because I love to look at the homeowner and go, see, told you I was fucking smarter than you.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. I would say honestly,
You're not kidding though.
I do like debunking because it to me it's like it's kind of like solving a crime. You know what I'm saying? So for me, the aspect of debunking it actually makes me more excited than finding the paranormal evidence. Now, don't get me wrong. Yeah, that breaking the head shit when that happens, and you guys seen it happen with me, I'm like, yeah, it's fucking awesome, right? And it is. Gives you an adrenaline rush. But for me, I think it's the inquisitive side of me that I just got to find the fucking answer. So if I find the answer and it's not paranormal, I feel like I definitely accomplished something at that point in time. Because, like, I'll give you an example. The ghost pops up. It's like, holy shit. But what did I accomplish? Nothing. I had an experience with something paranormal. All right. Where if I turn around and I broke the pattern and figured out what the fuck was wrong, and it turned out to be something logical, then I feel like I actually accomplished something.
Yeah,
so
I get it.
For me, that's the thrill of the debunking part gets me more.
I'll have to say I've debunked more than I've proven.
Me too. I would definitely say I've debunked far more than I've
think
ever
that's
proven.
Someone
exactly how it
online
always
not
is.
long ago, I was in a paranormal chat room, and they said, "Oh, we don't do help calls. They're a waste of time."
What? Why?
Because they
Because
say
they
you spend
probably
too
don't
much
know how to
time
do one.
sitting in the dark, and there's nothing there. Well, everybody knows they don't perform on demand.
Yeah.
And
Well, that's
maybe
the
they
goal.
don't want to talk to you.
Yeah.
Maybe they only want to talk to the family.
And that's the other thing that goes back to what Jesse was asking about doing an investigation over a prolonged period of time.
Yep.
Because, dude, you can't make a ghost work on cue. If you could, I'd be in fucking Vegas making millions, you know? But the thing is that also, too, finding the evidence, if there is something paranormal going on, yeah, you're definitely probably going to have to go back quite a few times over an extended amount of time to really not only say, yes, there's something paranormal going on here, but here's what I think the answer may be to that paranormal thing. A lot of people want they want that flash in the pan. They want to go to that one location, go out there for one night, have shit happen, and say, man, this is cool. I got this on video, got this on audio, so on and so forth, and leave it at that.
Right.
Then you have the people that like You know, like for me, I'm just fucking inquisitive, and I like to figure shit out.
Right.
I don't like not having the answer. So for me, it's like if there's a place that, you know, let's say I go there one time and it does have shit happening, I like to maybe go back quite a few times to see if I can figure out, okay, well, we know it's happening. Why is it happening?
Yeah.
How the fuck is
and
it happening?
what is it?
You know
Is
what I'm
it
saying? Exactly.
poltergeist?
You know, you want to get a little